Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Miles with Moms podcast. Season 2. Season
Woo!
2 of the Miles
Yeah.
with
Whoop,
Moms
whoop.
podcast. I am Whitney.
I'm Olivia.
I'm Shannon.
And we are so happy to have you guys here. If you didn't know, this is a podcast for moms who run by moms who run. And our goal with this podcast is for mother runners everywhere to never have to run alone or feel alone in their mom life struggles or journey to accomplishing big goals. Because guess what? Taking time to take care of yourself and to chase big goals as a mom is not only okay, it's awesome for you and the lessons that you're teaching your kids. There are 3 of us here today. We are missing Trisha today. She's on spring break with her kids. It's sad. She'll be back next week. So usually, we give a warning, like don't listen around your kids because we do swear. Olivia will probably say something inappropriate. We may not swear because Trisha is usually the one to drop the F-bomb, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just, it's like the seal has been broken and
Exactly.
just let it fly. But maybe we'll keep it clean today. I don't know. We never know.
We don't know.
We never know. So today we're going to be talking about mother runner hacks. We're like talking about time saving hacks, recovery hacks, things that just make life more efficient, or help you just kind of, I don't know, level up your training. So that's what we're going to get into. But before we do, we have a couple of things to take care of, including thanking our first official sponsor of the podcast.
Woo!
Yay! Lagoon Sleep. So if you have listened to this podcast, you know that for me personally, sleep is very important. Olivia hates sleep. But you'll have to go back and listen on that one. That was in our hot takes one, what I'm talking about. But I love sleep. It is the number one best thing that we can do to recover. I stand by that. And I have experienced firsthand the impacts poor sleep or not enough sleep can have on recovery. And in fact, I blame lack of sleep as a huge contributing factor to past injuries. But for the past several years, I have leveled up my sleep quality thanks to my Lagoon Sleep pillow, which the rest of you also have and enjoy. I'm not kidding when I say this. The first night that I slept with it, I slept through my alarm, which hasn't happened to me since I was probably like a teenager. I remember Jake came downstairs and was like, "Whitney, what are you doing?" It's just the pillow. It's so plush. It's soft. It's comfortable. And I know every time I lay my head down on it, I'm going to have an amazing deep sleep, unless the kids or the dogs interfere with that. But the pillow is customized to you, to me. You fill out a 2-minute quiz. It tells you what the best pillow is for you. They have cute animal names. I'm the fox. I'm the fox. I think you guys are the otter.
Yeah.
I am.
Right? Yeah, and then you can personalize it. Like you can take the filling out if you need to, if it's too thick. I try to take it with me wherever I go because I hate sleeping on too flat or too fat of a pillow. So you can take your quiz at lagoonsleep.com and then you can save 15% with a very easy to remember code, MOM, just MOM. So lagoonsleep.com and use the code MOM to save 15%. So thank you, Lagoon Sleep, for sponsoring this episode.
It's the best.
Okay, so we haven't talked to each other in a few weeks. So before we get in and get to our shout out, how are you guys doing?
So good.
Just still sleep deprived, but no, I'm just kidding.
All I do is sleep now.
I know.
Well, Olivia, did you say you got some like fan mail or hate mail about your treadmill? Because you're going to be talking about some treadmill hacks. Did you get some?
Yeah, I can give treadmill hacks. But yeah, in one of my videos, I got a comment yesterday about that. Someone said, I don't know if I would leave my child that's still in diapers unsupervised for 40 minutes with the emoji, like the emoji. And I was like,
so what did you respond?
I said she's right next to me, but you do you. Like, I mean, it's like I can't give that many. I will never give like the layout of my house. I watch way too much crime to like ever show anybody where I'm setting up my kids, right? Like, you have to take videos for what they are. Like, and in it, I did say that there was a paint disaster, which there was. And, those are risks that you're going to have when you're on a treadmill. Like, even if I don't wear headphones, the thudding is so loud. Like, I can barely hear, actually, that's not true. I can hear pretty much everything that's going on. But, if she's opening paint caps, I can't hear that. But so in the video, but she's right. They're always right next to me. There's a wall that splits off and there's couches on the other side. So usually they're just on one side of me. Like they're very rarely actually upstairs. And if they are, I can hear them running around like little mice. But I'm not going to, a real 30 seconds, I'm not going to share exactly where they're at and where I set them up all the time. So, but she is 3 and I'm a late potty trainer. I potty train late. So like her being in diapers really didn't have that much context. At first I had like a snarky response and I was like, haha, well, I don't change my daughter's diaper every 40 minutes like you apparently, but I was like, you do you. I don't like what, but it does like, it always sits in my mind. I'm like, oh, somebody saw this and was like, this mom is leaving her child unattended for 40 whole minutes. I was like, that's wild. But,
Yeah. And
that,
this person chose to say something to you about it. Like, what is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I've typed up things before where I'm like, wow, like never on like a stranger's. I always find it weird to comment on strangers' stuff if it's unsupportive because it's like,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's just so much because you're just asking for trouble. But like, if a family member posts something on Facebook and you're like, I'll like type it up and then I'm like, I'll exit the app. It's like adding things to a shopping cart and then exiting the app, But like actually hitting send on it, I'm always like, wow, they felt so passionately that I was unsupervising my child, and then I was like, maybe I do give off the vibe that, 2-hour runs, I'm just like, figure it out, guys. Snacks in the pantry.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you could do that? I mean, even if you were that type of mom, it would never happen that way.
It would never. Do your kids ever leave you alone? Like ever? Like mine don't. I'm assembling LOL dolls nonstop on the treadmill. Like,
Oh,
there's
that's amazing.
Not a
That
chance
you
that I'm left alone.
Because that's hard to do. The pieces are so small.
The pieces are so small. Yeah. It's usually just their heads. So yeah.
Shanna, have your girls gotten into LOL dolls? Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, shoot. Shanna will come back.
Oh.
But I could tell by her mouth that she said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Her kids are into LOL dolls. I remember she told me some story about how she got a whole bunch of them and I was like, how did you land so many of these, but they are like, I just get the little ones, but all of ours are naked and shower toys. Like, I don't know where any of their accessories are at this point, but.
Yeah. Oh, I remember spending many times getting like tackle boxes and sorting, like the purses go here and the earrings go here and the hair accessories. I don't know why. That's not the type of mom I am. But
really?
This was driving me. Yeah, I'm not super organized and stuff like that because I'm just like, I know it's not going to last, but it was driving me crazy. And I thought that it may last, but it turned out to just be a waste of time. Shanna, can we hear you?
I hope so.
Yay!
I won't get your guys' mic because this thing is a piece of shit. I'm gonna break the ice for us.
You broke this deal. You make sure you get it flesh colored.
No,
like mine.
That one's actually really cute. The pink one.
It's very alarming every time it pops in.
I know. Anytime somebody comes into this room that doesn't know me, I'm like embarrassed.
Yeah. Okay, it's so funny because with having showings at our house, I tuck the mic behind and I'm always like,
Oh my God.
So I don't have the pink one for that exact reason. Because if you're just coming in and scooping, you would totally do a double take on that. Like, I would. Are you kidding me? I think you wouldn't believe what I saw next to their bed. Oh my
I
gosh.
should give it to the kids.
Oh, now you're muted.
What is going on with our circle?
That's because I hit the mute button on this fancy mic. So yeah. Yeah. So Sheena, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I ran my first track meet last weekend, which was so fun.
I missed that. How'd it go?
It went so well. So yeah, I was with a bunch of 20-year-olds. To anybody that's listening, I'm 32 and the youngest person was like 23, 24. So I was literally like 10 to 12 years older than these people. That was like very weird. But yeah, it was so great. It was so much fun. And then I run my next one this upcoming weekend. And I'm loving this season. Like, I love just being in a different environment, running scene. But yeah, it's been fun. So keeping up with that. And then my husband changed his work schedule for our listeners, which has been really different. It was supposed to be a 10 to 6 job and it's like a 9 to 7:30 job ish. So yeah, a little different than he originally told me, but it's good.
Is it going to be like that, or is that just as he's getting onboarded and learning the ropes?
I think it's going to get busier as time goes on. He's just got out on the floor. So he's a real estate agent for anybody that's curious. And so he's on the floor actually selling the new construction homes now. So there's like tons of paperwork that he's going to have to start doing. So I'm sure it'll be a lot of like 8:30s later on down the road, but it's okay if it translates and it takes care of my family. I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. So
how do you do that with all the after school activities? You have to figure it out, do carpools and that kind of stuff, or
yeah, so like all my kids just hop in the car and we just cart them off.
Okay, so it's not like they have to both be at the different places at the same time, sort of thing, or
kind of, yeah. So like my two kids, they do karate, and then my other girl, she does dance at the same time. So it's like 5-minute difference. I just drop her off first because they're the most strict about it. And then my other ones have like a 10-minute gap where they're kind of like lenient on. So I'll drop them off and then I'll pick them up because they get out first, and then I'll go drive really fast to go get my other girl. Thursdays are crazy because those are the days that they're back to back. But I mean, it's fine. My kids just get extra park time in between that, and they're super pumped about it, my little kids. But yeah, it'll get easier as time goes on, I think, once I figure out a routine. So
you'll get into the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
You're making it work.
Yeah.
Just don't get a speeding ticket.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Thankfully, I know like where the speed traps for the most part are. What roads not to speed on is like, yeah. I don't do that.
I'm picturing you in a minivan that's like all souped up, and then you have like the radar detector, and like the old school radar detector in the front, like
listening to police radio.
Yeah.
Listen on the police scanner.
Did you guys know your iPhones will tell you if there's a speed trap?
Oh yeah,
like most.
I use
It's crazy.
I use maps everywhere I go for that exact reason now.
Oh really? But I know like Waze will say like police reported ahead.
Yeah.
But for anybody listening, I don't speed like all the time. Like I'm not like a reckless driver. I don't need somebody coming after me. Be like, this girl doesn't.
Yes, she speeds.
Sometimes.
We live on a street that's by where the church and the preschool is.
Yeah.
And it's the preschool my kids went to. And the church traffic and the preschool moms they're both the fastest drive. I try to get speed bumps in it. I was a Karen. I try to get speed bumps.
No, that's good though.
Yeah.
My old neighborhood.
Yeah.
There were these YouTubers that lived on that street, and they would just go flying because they're always videoing and always on their, like her phone would always be up, and I'd be like, ooh, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
Not that much older than her, and I was always like, mother.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's like because you want your kids, to be able to play on the street, and if a ball was to roll out or something, and it's like, even
teach them to look both ways, but when they're of a certain age, it's if they're going after the ball, they're not thinking about the car.
100%.
But yeah, they're the fastest drivers ever. It's the fellow moms. Okay, do we want to do a shout out before we get into our hacks?
Let's
okay, so I'm going to shout out one of my athletes, Melissa, who is a first-time marathoner. She wanted to run a marathon, I think, to celebrate her 40th goal. Yes. And she had a lot. She came to me. Her name is Michelle. She came to me soon before her marathon. I think she had like 6 weeks, and she had fallen off training for various reasons, including the flu. And so but she was doing this marathon. There was no deviation. And so she was very committed to doing it. And I'm going to read the why behind it, but she's amazing. She's a marathoner now. And she overcame a lot of obstacles. So in 2018, I began my fitness journey, going from being an inactive person to becoming a triathlete. I enjoyed the triathlon experience for a while, but after my son was born, I shifted focus to running. With less time for training, running became my outlet to stay sane. I think we can all relate. In 2023, I set a bold goal to run a full marathon. Turning 40 last year, I learned that the LA Marathon was celebrating its 40th anniversary in 2025. And I took it as a sign to register. Though I'd never run more than a half marathon, I decided to push forward. I wanted to prove to myself that I can do it. Despite ups and downs, sickness of both my son and myself, injuries, physical therapy, challenging times, and sad family moments, I was able to accomplish my goal and become a marathoner. Running is my therapy. Movement is medicine.
That's so awesome.
So I love it. Yeah, I loved how she stuck with it, because with the obstacles that were arising, there were a couple times where I was, a lot of people would not have pushed forward, and she was dead set on doing the goal. So you're awesome, Melissa. Congratulations. All right. We ready to get in? I clapped. I hope that didn't hurt everybody's ears. I'm sorry.
I love that.
I think I'm a clapper. If I laugh really, really hard, I will clap, and I also snort. So
me
there
too.
You go. Are you a snorter?
Definitely. I've definitely snorted on this podcast a couple of times for sure. Yeah. No, there's a lot going on. So much going on. I have this very visceral memory of one time I was laughing so hard and I kicked my head back because I laughed so hard at things. It was probably not even that funny, and I got my hair caught in a coat hook, and I was in front of a bunch of people, and I had no friends in middle school. Okay. It still lives in my head. I'm like trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, remember when your ponytail got caught? Yeah.
And now it's the hot dog nipples. When you're trying to fall asleep, like, remember the time I was on a public podcast and we started talking about hot dog nipples?
I know. I'm like, I'm just going about living a normal life, and I think about that stuff all the time. I'm like, why did you say that out loud? Well, who knows what's going to happen today?
Yep, who knows? It's exciting. You never know. Yes, I do that too, though, Olivia. But I've never talked about hot dog nipples ever in my life until today. Okay, and for that one, you'll have to go back to the previous episode to know what that reference is. I feel like our podcast is kind of like, it's like watching, I don't know, is a sitcom like this where you have to listen to the old ones to get it all, right? To get the complete picture. So sorry about
I'm glad
that.
you didn't say a train wreck. That you're gonna be like, it's like watching a train wreck. You just can't look away.
You can't look away.
Can't do anything about it.
It's off the tracks. Okay, who wants to go first with a mother runner hack?
Do you have one, Whitney? Would you like to start?
I do. I'll get the ball rolling. Yeah. Okay. This may seem common. Maybe everybody does this, but I was very proud of myself when I started doing this, which is prepping the coffee the night before and setting a timer so that when I wake up, I am waking up to the aroma of coffee that is ready for me first thing in the morning, which was like so key when I was doing those 3:30 a.m. wake ups many years ago. It was like that, just making, like, for me, drinking coffee first thing in the morning is very important, but it also is a motivation to get out of bed. And so on those really, really early mornings when you're dragging, knowing that that's like ready for you. And I kind of so cheesy. I'm like, somebody else and made this coffee for me and made it with love. It's there waiting for you, Whitney.
Yes.
So that is one of my, it's a time saving hack, especially in the morning, but it's also a motivation hack because it goes along with laying out the clothes the night before, that sort of thing, making sure your breakfast is ready or whatever you want to grab. I really want to try overnight oats, by the way. Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah, they're pretty
You
good.
have?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a hack.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a twofer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hannah seemed like she wasn't sure.
I don't know. Like the texture is kind of interesting for me. Like I like a hot bowl of oatmeal. I don't know, but I mean, it is good. Like I used this brand even. It was called, I think it's called Holos, like HOLOS.
Oh yeah,
you seen
I've
that?
seen that.
It's
on
pretty
Instagram.
good. You just dump it in the cup and then you add either milk or water, whatever you want, and then you fill it to the line. You just put the lid on it and put it in and eat it the next day. And it has like a lot in it, like a lot of calories, a lot of carbs. I don't even know if it's oats. It might be something else. It's like
Yeah, I remember Lauren Green, that comedian.
Yeah,
she talked about it.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's pretty good. It's just weird to go from like hot oats to like cold. I don't know.
You feel like you're Goldilocks and eating porridge, kind of.
I'm a little picky with my oatmeal. I'm not gonna lie. I have to have like everything. I put like bananas. I put peanut butter. I put honey. I put chocolate chips in there, and it's like a gourmet bowl of oatmeal. So. Yeah.
Oh, I need to do that.
So
I used to be a huge oatmeal person, and then I accidentally got the fiber kind, like 3 months, and I was doubling up the package because one package is not enough. So I was eating 2, and then I was like, "Yeah, it was." I'm not going to describe it. It was Jake. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with my stomach these days, and Jake was the one I was like, "Whitney, how much fiber is in one of those things?"
It's a lot. It is a lot in one. So doubling up is crazy.
Yeah, it was Colon Blow 2.0.
Oh my gosh. I like overnight oats. I used to do it a lot for when I was at work, and especially because waking up, I always had coffee, and then I'd have my drive to work, and then it helped with like, because I don't mind the temperature of it. I guess I don't know. I did mind the temperature when I got that. There's those mush that you can get from Costco.
Yeah,
and those were such a hard no for me.
Yeah, like kind of interesting.
If I could,
they're called mush.
Those.
Yeah.
Oh. Like literally, I'd like to kick him to the curb. I was like, no, why did you buy this? Yeah, no, like that's how dramatic I feel. But I feel like I'm kind of specific about. It's just one of those things because texture, like it just depends on the person. But I definitely like it because I feel like if you're going to put protein into your oatmeal, overnight oats is a great way to get your protein in as well. So
yes,
that's a huge part of it for me because then it's like it's already all softened up and mixed in there. And so especially when I was going to work, it was like the best. And if I'm traveling and it's just like an overnight thing, then it's a great way, like for before a race or something. That would be how I consume my oatmeal probably the most.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to try to copy you, Shanna, with dressing up my oatmeal. Okay, so that's going to be a bridge to another hack. Shanna, tell us a meal hack. I bet you got one.
Little Caesar's pizza. No, just kidding.
$5.
One day a week. No, just kidding. Fast food places down. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Okay, here's what it is I pull up to the McDonald's and I order. That's my hack.
Oh man. If I was bold enough, I would say the McDonald's wrap right now, but I'm not going to do that. I remember that thing from high school. You guys probably don't remember that, but I was a weirdo and wrapped in McDonald's drive-thru. There's like a whole wrap, and it's awesome.
Oh my gosh!
I was never a big McDonald's. I did like Wendy's when I was in high school.
Wendy's is good. I think Wendy's is better than McDonald's, to be honest. But
me too.
No, I use my Instapot like quite a bit because my kids, like I'm on the go often. Like I have 3 kids, I have 6 kids.
Got rid of the other 3.
Yeah,
Just too
they
much.
didn't make the cut.
Oh my gosh.
And Moppy simple legs ice skating.
They're up at Olivia's basement. No, I'm just kidding.
Being unsupervised.
Unsupervised while she runs on the treadmill. Yeah.
Thank goodness they don't wear diapers, so we're good. No, I have 6 kids, three different schools, or like 3 different areas I have to go often throughout the day. And so for me, it's like I'm always in and out of my car like all day. Like I wonder sometimes if my neighbors just watch me go and leave like every day. I'm like, what is her gas like? My car gas, by the way. Where Olivia's mind is going with this.
We've accomplished a lot in this podcast, and we've talked about both types of gas already. So good for us.
I see Olivia laughing over there, and I immediately was like, "Wait a second, I'm not talking about fluctuation
over here."
I tell you what, gas is like. That's only the night after pizza. Just kidding.
After the Little Caesars.
No, so yeah, I do a lot of Instapot stuff. So it's really easy meals too. It's like spaghetti. Like I make my own spaghetti sauce kind of deal. So I put like vegetables like zucchini, yellow squash, like I don't know, ground turkey meat. I put that all in there, season it up, and then I put my own spaghetti mixes in there, and then I'll just let that sit for like 6 hours on low. And that's just like quick, easy stuff. Or I'll do, I can write like a list of like my same 10 meals that I go to like every dinner. Maybe that might be helpful, but, I just dump it in there. And then usually the only thing I have to do is like come home and like make a side with it, which is like rice, or like put the rolls that I had rising out all day in the oven. So it's like a 15-minute prep by the time I get home. Cause my kids, I don't know if you guys' kids are like this, but when they come home from sports or like school or whatever, they are just like so like angry. Like they're just like so much emotion built up all day, probably from like having to be quiet and still and like listen to rules, that when they come home, they're like, oh, this is my safe environment. So I'm going to explode on my mom. And it's just like a lot. So for me, like keep everybody in line so we can keep moving forward to the next thing we have on that day. It's like I have to be ahead of time, like on things like, and that's like dinner. They will lose their shiz if they have to wait 45 minutes to eat.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, how can I make this as simple as possible so I can come home, put everything together in like 10 minutes, they can eat, and then we're out the door to sports, or we're coming back from sports and we're eating before they have to go to bed. But yeah, that saved me so much time. And then I usually just do my grocery shopping today, like on Sundays. I'll prep, and then I have my groceries still delivered at my door. Thank you, Walmart, or wherever. Costco does it too. They'll drop it off at my door. I'll just like make a list. I'll go through my pantry, get everything that I need for the week, and then everything's prepped usually Sunday. So I'm like, I go through my list. Okay, snacks, things like that. What do I need for these days? And then it just makes the week so much easier for me, especially when I am a solo on a lot of these things now, because my husband is at work like the whole evening too. Yeah, it makes my life so much more smoother. So yeah, grocery shopping Sunday, and then Instapot every day of the week, pretty much, except for Thursdays. That's pizza day.
I just think I'm like marveling at you. I think that's incredible. Doing all that. I don't know what it is. I just find meal planning so difficult.
It's overwhelming.
And I hate grocery shopping and putting away groceries, and you're doing that with 6 kids running around and planning the whole week ahead. I just think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I bow down to you, as cheesy as that sounds.
It's easy with a grocery drop off. Like going to the store, like I don't know how parents do that. Like that's a lot for me. Like taking my kids, like even 3 of them, I'm like, I do not want to go to the store and have to buy groceries. So it's like, if I'm at home and I can look at everything, like I open my fridge, what do I need, stock up on, and then like put it all in the thing and then they're just dropping it off. Like my kids get so excited when they see that doorbell ring and they're like, groceries.
Really?
Oh, they love it. They're like, what did mom get? It's like Christmas morning. They're like, oh, snacks. And I'm like, that's not till tomorrow. Or they'll eat everything in one day. But yeah, it's like they actually get excited about like grocery drop off, which is so funny.
That is so cute.
But yeah.
That's awesome. All right, Olivia, you're up.
All right. Here we go.
Let's get serious.
I know.
Let's get serious. Okay.
Oh, that was my phone sex.
Oh, it was your phone sex operator voice. Oh my gosh. That needs to be just paid content, okay?
That's right. That's right. I gotta keep it in line. Okay. Like any treadmill hacks you have? Just leave them unsupervised? That's
Just
your hack?
honestly, just also
Just
kick
let
them
'em
to the
figure it out.
curb. Treat them like mush and kick them to the curb. Send them outside. See how fast people really are driving. Set them up with the speedometer, okay? I'm just kidding. Okay, so here's my bet. I feel like this is like the question I get asked the most, or like I feel like this is the most confusing part of how to run especially when your kids are little, like little, and it's it's a lot of moms I feel like that have that gap of 1 and 3 or 1 and 2, and that is definitely the hardest age. Like I would really recommend that if you have a gym that you have access to. I did a community center, like a rec center, and I would go and run there, and that helped so much at that age. And then I slowly started to like they come and get you when your kid needs to go potty or a diaper change. So they'll get glimpses of you on the treadmill. And like they can be familiar with you running outside, but treadmill, the machine, it's like super interesting to them. First of all, there's buttons, it's loud. Like I have a Peloton, so I have a screen going. They're very like they want to know what's happening. And so that helped with like that, oh, this is mommy's time. And a 3-year-old can understand that a lot better, obviously, than a 1-year-old. But like those slow introductions to it was huge. Like even if it was like, oh, Grayson needs to go potty, he doesn't really, they just will tell you that over and over so that they can come and see their mom. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I would walk him on the treadmill for a few minutes. And then I eventually brought him home, and I'd be like, I'd have 10 minutes of a run left, or I wouldn't. And I would just like turn it on and start walking next to them. And I would just introduce it at home very slowly, like 5 minutes, then the next week, 10 minutes. And sometimes it would go well and sometimes it wouldn't. And the gym hours were super limited. So it was like not the most ideal situation, but if you can find something that works for you in that setting, it's awesome. But then I slowly started just saving all the best stuff of the day, like best snacks, best iPad stuff, like games or YouTube. And the 1 hour that they get it is the hour that I would be on the treadmill. And that's how I do it still. So like Grayson, he turned 5. So he was always on his little phone. And so now he gets 1 hour on PlayStation. And so that's been huge because the phone wasn't doing it anymore. Like he was always coming down, asking for new stuff. And so I was like, oh, we're pivoting. And so just staying really flexible with everything. But then that's it. So like sometimes because I'm home with them all day, I'm like, okay, it's super limited the amount of time. It's not like, oh my gosh, I have all day. I can just run on the treadmill whenever I want to. It's like, okay, would you rather that I do this right now? Or do you want to save it for tonight? Because if you play your game right now, like you can't play on it again tonight. And so sometimes like he'll pick later because then it's like, after shower for him and stuff. And then I'm like, okay, I guess tonight's like an evening run, which that very rarely happens. But, it happened like 6 days ago or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll just have to wait all day. And so it's like, but it's like, I know that it's guaranteed time, they still come down or like, I still have to come up and fix everything. And like he'll exit the game and whatever. And it's just staying really, really flexible in that even if you stop 100 times during an easy run, it's like the time still adds up over time. And, just being really open to, if you have to split up your run into 2, that's fine. And if you have to split it up into 3 20-minute workouts, that's fine. And also doing like activity baskets where they picked out what goes into it. So like I talked about the paint situation, and I'm like, okay, like we picked out tablecloth and we just set it down on the floor, but tablecloth, what paintbrushes they're using, like everything, you just like to minimize interruptions as much as possible. And I'm talking like dollar store stuff. Like we're trying to figure it out the best that we can. All their best snacks are like treadmill hour snacks though. And that's how I have to do it, just because like, let's see, I could like this week I'll probably be on the treadmill for 5 days. So that's a lot of time that I have to figure out what they're going to do for that hour, you know? And like Charlotte, she likes her device, but not that much. Like right now she has it somewhere. I can hear it really loud, but she's not on it. So just figuring that kind of stuff out. So just staying super, super flexible is like the number one thing. And then also just, knowing what season you're in is huge. Like when my kids were 6 months old and 2 years old, I had signed up for a marathon, but I was splitting my runs up into 20-minute workouts a day. And, that was just not my season to be running a marathon in. And so dialing it back a notch is always helpful too. So
that can be a hack.
Yeah.
So I think
Knowing
that's
you
a
have
huge part of it. Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing about when you're doing so many miles on a treadmill is just really understanding, like, I mean, even feel like 3 and 5 now, like even from 6 months ago, how much things have changed, it's like I can communicate with them so much better and stuff. But like we had so many comments on our 24 hours in a day post, and I was like anybody who's like, well, I can't do that because I have a 1 and a 3-year-old or whatever, and I'm like, I feel for you so hard. I get it. Like I promise I get it more than anyone, like I'll never forget this like 8-day span. My husband was at work. He was home for 1 day, and then he had to go to some training for like 9 more days. And I was like, I lived on the that was the only way I had any sanity. But I did at that time, like when my daughter was 6 months old, I wasn't bringing her to a gym, so I could get my run in. And you're just like, you're fighting for any small inkling of time that you have, but you figure out how to make it work. And I think it's hard because we're all seeing like I'm putting out there, 75 minutes on the treadmill today. But sometimes I don't mention
you say
that.
It just like that. 75 minutes on the treadmill.
Yeah, all of them have voiceovers. No, I don't. But I don't always mention that I stop sometimes 4 times during that 75 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really like, and sometimes I don't stop at all. It like the number one thing about it is just being flexible and really, really changing your mindset to that it will all add up. Like, even if you stop 4 times, it doesn't mean you need to add on a second workout at the end of the day and when they go to bed or anything like that. It's like your miles will add up no matter which way they were done, and I think that's
the only reason
the biggest
it
thing.
really matters, the stopping, is if you're like in the middle of a workout, like if you're doing a 30-minute tempo run and you have to go upstairs for 5 minutes, well, then that changes the workout,
It
does.
like,
so then it's not ideal.
Also to keep in mind, like if that happens, like it's still adding up.
It's still adding up.
It's not the same workout, but it's because like I think about like, okay, so Friday I had 8x1Ks and I did them on my treadmill because I chose sleep that morning. Like I've been choosing sleep a lot this speed training cycle. And so Friday I did my workout. I had all my kids home because my car broke down Thursday. So I had to go straight to the mechanic. So my vehicle that carries all of my family was at the shop, and so my kids stayed home Friday, all of them. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna sleep in and I'm gonna do it on the treadmill. And I did it at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Half my kids were playing out in the driveway, drawing with chalk. The other half were in the house fighting. And there was some times between my 1Ks, like I had like 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. And I was like, you know what? Like it is still all adding up. And so I think it's so easy. Us as runners, we're so type A, and I'm like this. Like I get very type A about like my elapsed time. I get very type A about like, did I do this totally to the spot on the dot exactly how it should? But at the end of the day, like over like the last year, those like few little workouts that have a little extra rest, or like you skip a cool down, which I did that Friday. I didn't get my 2 mile cool down in. And I was like, I literally was like 9 p.m. at night. And I was like, I still have to do my strength training lift. Do I do my cool down and my strength training lift, which is 45 minutes? I'm not going to be done till like 11 o'clock at night. And so I was like, skip the cool down. It's 2 miles. It's not going to do anything to your training.
It's never going to make or break.
Yeah. And so I went into my lift, did my lift, was done for the day. And the workout was so imperfect, but like, I love that I've gotten to the point now where I totally have confidence that like your entire year is what matters. It's not, it's not those little sprinkles of workouts every here, now and then that have interrupted time with your kids, or maybe you had to break it up, like Olivia said, 3 different times through that day. And it's like, yeah, that's not what was assigned to you. But at the end of the day, you got in the workout and you did the best that you could. And those little bits of coins, like they're just pennies. You're just putting pennies into a piggy bank, and that piggy bank's going to be so full by the end of the year that it really will not matter that it wasn't 60-minute session at one go versus 3 sessions, throughout the day,
It's so true. I feel like exactly if you have like a 30-minute tempo and it's interrupted, but I'll fix it, buddy. If you say you have a 30-minute tempo and it's interrupted at like the 20-minute mark and you're like, okay, I have 10 minutes left.
Which is
like
frustrating.
It is so frustrating. But then I think back and I'm like, okay, I've either had a workout that was, either 2 15-minute blocks with like 3 minutes in between. Right. And it's like taking the time and like, then it's like, so what? It looks different on Strava, or like, what is it? What's the difference? Right. It's like, it will still add up. And then like, oftentimes if I miss a workout, like, I'm trying to think, last week I ended up not doing a workout because I moved my long run and stuff, but then my coach just gave me the same workout and I was able to make it up. So if it's something that's like really important and you feel like, oh my gosh, I really wanted the most out of this because I wanted to see what I could do, like, it's okay to just ask to do that same workout if you see the same, like the benefit, or your coach should be able to tell you like, nah, like we'll move on from it, because I think if it starts happening all the time, that's when you need to be like, okay, what in my, I have to do that with my kids where I'm like, okay, so something's not working. Like, like obviously like their iPad is boring for them now. Cool. That's totally fine. But now now I'm doing activity buckets. Like I never thought I'd be a mom that makes activity buckets, but I was like on Pinterest, like, okay, what entertains kids for an hour? and like, that's the pivot I had to make because I was getting interrupted during like a tempo workout, and jumping right back into it is
so
super painful.
Hard. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, then I have to re-warm up, get back into it. And so I'm like, okay, let's pivot, let's figure it out. How can we make this better?
Like to think of there could be a positive in there or a silver lining that you don't see. Like maybe you needed that extra rest.
Yeah.
Or maybe if your tempo is broken up, then you can run the second set faster. And so you just kind of change the workout. You know 100%. What I mean? Like,
yeah.
That brings me to my next hack. Is breaking up strength workouts, because I think a lot of times we have a hard time fitting in the strength. Like that gets left, that's not prioritized for a lot of runners. And so what I like to do is I totally break it up. Like I will be doing laundry and I put up the pull-up bar and I'm like, I'm going to do 10 pull-ups, 20. This is what I do. I did this today. 10 pull-ups, 20 push-ups, and a core move. Fold like a couple pieces of laundry and then and it's just, I don't know, or you have 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and it just helps me get it in, breaking it up or like interweaving it into things that I'm already doing. Because to me, like if it's a busy day or you have a lot to do, being like, where am I going to find that 20, 30 minutes of uninterrupted time to get that done? So instead I just have the stuff like up, the weights under my bed or whatever, and just kind of fit it in as is, which probably, I probably look insane, but it's just, like with everything, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this beautiful 30-minute uninterrupted session. It can just be whenever you literally have time, and it does add up and it does make a difference. I think I have found personally. So that's kind of my hack, is like, don't wait for that beautiful chunk. Just fold it in to what you're doing already.
It's so true. Do you feel like, for either of you guys, do you feel like that was ever like a factor in your mind, like why you were maybe hesitant to chase a goal because you felt like it had to look a certain way? Like, have you
Oh,
guys ever struggled with
100%, which
that?
is why that's why I have let go of my fast marathon
Yeah.
time, because in my mind I'm like, I still have to be running 80 miles a week and be tired and just totally focused on running. And so to me, I remove that goal and instead am going to just see how training evolves, and maybe it will arrive at that goal and maybe it won't. But yeah, I think, or yeah, when people, I think, are afraid of the marathon a lot of times because they think that they're going to have to really bump up their mileage,
Yeah.
where honestly, for a lot of runners, they, unless you're, you're going for a specific time and it's, far reaching goal, it's really just the long run that changes.
Yeah, totally. I
Right?
It's so
agree.
true. Yeah.
What
I
about
mean,
you
isn't
guys?
that how I think that's how a lot of people, I think that to consider themselves runners, like I think so many people fit it into this box of like, I don't, if they walk during their runs, or like they just do walk runs, like with even just jogging, that they would like never, they would never out loud like at dinner and be like, yeah, I'm a runner. Like they're never
Yeah,
going to identify themselves
so
as a
true.
runner, right? Which is insane. Cause like literally you could tell me that you walk 2 miles and you jog for 3 minutes, I'd be like, oh my God, that's so freaking cool. It's such a big deal to do that because people are not doing it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, Shanna, you went out and did a freaking track meet. You're a mom of 6. Like, it does not have to look a certain way. It does not
Mhm.
have to look, like, I can't tell you, no one else is people are not out there doing it. Even like, yes, there are moms out there who are running on the track, but so many of them are professional runners. They're the ones who are
Mhm.
getting, like that's what people are seeing. Like I would have never seen myself watching a track meet as an adult person, watching my friend do it. Like that wasn't my kids out there. It's not like I'm showing up and watching my kid. I'm watching my friend. Like that is crazy. So yeah, it does not have to look a certain way. I totally think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah,
Crazy courageous. Yeah.
I just feel like I've always struggled with that. Like I think that's why, like, even when I had my 6th kid, I was like, there's no way, you can come back, because you do look up and aspire to be what your goals are. And so if your goals are big and audacious and you categorize other people that are doing those same goals or bigger, you're like, oh well, I have to replicate what they're doing, right? And I
Yes.
think that's naturally, like, humanely what we all do as humans, is like, okay, if that person's doing that and I want that goal, then I kind of have to replicate that lifestyle. And it's like,
Mhm.
most times than not, especially in running, like, unless that's your full-time job, like, it's not possible to replicate, right? Like, we're not like putting our feet up in the boots all the time to rest and recover in marathon training. Like, no, your long run is your warm up. Like, that's just the warm up of the day that's ahead. And yeah, so I just like, I think it's, I don't know, I just hope that like people that are listening to this, like, they cling on to these hacks, because like I don't want them to think like it has to look a certain polished way. Like, your workouts can be messy, like your strength sessions can be broken up, like you said, like you can be doing laundry and then go do 10 push-ups. Like, it is all still adding up, and it's like, it's going to make progress. Like, those 30-minute workouts for me, like strength training workouts at home before I even started running, are why I am here. Like,
Mhm.
literally why I have all the things that I have currently present in my life right now, because I chose to show up messy with 30-minute workouts out of my house, lifting 10-pound weights. Like, I wasn't even lifting 20s. Like, I look back at the videos and I'm like, why am I struggling? I'm like, like,
It's still me.
what is going on here? But that's all I had, and that's like all my
Mhm.
fitness was at. And my kid, it was messy. It was so messy. I had 4 kids at home at the time, of like 4 and under. Like, yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy period. But like, if you allow yourself to like find ways to show up in your season, and it can be small manners of decisions, like, it could lead to so much more later on when your seasons do change, and it allows you to have more time, or you find more flexibility, or you get more confident to like pencil yourself into your calendar.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. It's like you're dipping the toe in the water. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I think social media is wonderful in a lot of ways, but we look at these, not even influencers, but other people, and it looks like it's so seamless for them, and they have these big swaths of time where they can get their solid workout in, and then their lift session, and or they wake up really early. For me, it's I see these moms waking up really early, and they're doing it, and they're doing
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and somehow they are not zombies by 9 o'clock. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like it probably is not perfect for anyone. It is messy. Embrace the messiness. Don't wait to have those big chunks of time. It's like, what is it? It's like exposure therapy or something. It's
Yes.
like just a little bit, little exposure, and then you're planting the seeds, and it can continue to grow. You'll see that you can do it. Like, oh, okay, if I can work in 10 minutes total of strength throughout the day, next week maybe it'll be 15 minutes. It's just, yeah,
That's so
you can't
true.
wait for it to be perfect ever.
I
Yeah.
am actually, that's a hack that I was going to say is scheduling out time for yourself. So I always am like, I never want to encourage people to do this because napping and feeding and all that stuff can be very touchy, right? Okay, so when I had Grayson, he was like the world's just him. He was the world's best napper. I was like crazy, like nap time at this time, and he was always down. So like I was able to, like I think he just slept all the time, and I was like, being a mom is so easy. And then I had Charlotte, and I was like, oh, my world has been turned upside down. But I was really rigid about nap schedules. Okay. So that was a big part of my life was I had his nap schedule in my phone, and that was the first nap of the day was always my running time. And it didn't matter like what the mileage was or anything. That was my running time. So even if friends asked me to go to breakfast, go to lunch, whatever it was always a no. I'm sorry. I have a meeting. And whatever it was,
Yeah.
none of their business, none of my business. It was just, that was it. And I had a meeting from 10 to 11 or from, at the time it would take me a very long time to run whatever mileage I had. So I always needed the 2 hours, but he was a great napper. And then I did get both of my kids on the same nap schedule for like a good 8 months, I would say, which was,
yeah.
it was so good. It was so good. And, but I would schedule it out again. And, I was like, oh, well, while they're napping, do you want to go do this? And I was always like, no, that is when I run. That is my time. And so, but it always stayed in my phone that way of like, that I would just move my run time around, and I had it in there as a meeting. It just is my meeting with myself. But it was very important to me that I learned to say no, even though like I do think it's important to find time to spend with your friends and all that stuff. But for me, it was really important because sorry, I was like, what are they using out there? It was very I heard a vacuum.
It's like a drill. You probably should go check on them.
Charlie, it's like it's a gecko thing that goes up and down the wall.
Oh.
I don't even know. It's with a remote. Do you mind taking that out there, baby? Thank you so much. I'll be right there. And
He's so nice, but on the third request, it's gonna be.
yeah. Sometimes I'm like, is this thing muted so that I can yell? So yeah, I always was like really adamant about scheduling out that time, and I do still, I feel like it's very, very important to schedule out that time. I feel like I never got to experience running because I came into it so like when I was working full time and I had these crazy shifts and I had a really long commute. I never experienced running when it was just like getting to do it whenever. Like, yes, there was days like that where it's like, oh, it's 4 p.m. Maybe I'll go do my run now, and not feeling like, oh, do I have to check in with 1,000 people, but
oh yeah,
and I wish I could have experienced that, but I've always experienced running as something that I really had to work at fitting into my schedule. And so like learning to say no to things that just that, I didn't feel like I needed to prioritize at the time. And that's tough. It's like, yeah, I'm saying no to my friends for lunch, but at the same time, like, how does 4 o'clock work for you? How does, do you want to come over for an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if it was like you can come hang out. I'm gonna run. I did that to people all the time.
I've
I'd be
done
like,
that.
I'm gonna run.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to come hang out with me while I do that, it'll be ugly. It'll be it won't be pretty. I might fart.
Gosh, when I was injured, I would be on the elliptical in my disgusting basement, and I had one friend in particular who would come over and talk to me while I was in my gross basement on the elliptical.
That's very nice, honestly.
Awesome.
I would do that.
too.
If someone invited me over to hang out while they worked out, I'd be like, let's do it. I'd watch people's kids, honestly. I've offered that to people all the time. Do you want me to watch your kids while you go work out? Like, because that's something that, like, I always wish I had, you know, like, let's exchange 75 minutes, you know, for each other. That way there's a little extra time. Because, you know, I think everybody needs that. Moms
We'll
need
talk
that,
about
you
it,
know?
but I don't know if anybody's ever actually done it.
I know.
For me, the obstacle was that my kids wouldn't feel comfortable with anybody other than me. So that was why.
Yeah.
Shanna, do you have a hack to add?
I mean, yeah, the laundry basket. I could talk about that one. Yeah, just like a laundry basket at the bottom of the stairs. And this is, guys, like, I'm not like making dinners every night. I don't want to come up as like this A+ mom, because I am not. Like, there's some weeks where
stop.
Well,
Yes,
there's some weeks where it's like, okay, I shouldn't swipe and buy fast food again for the 4th time in a row. But I do feel like when I do use these, like, it does help. So I just want to put that out there, because I know mom comparison thing is a real thing, and I don't want people thinking I'm like,
we're gonna table that. We're gonna take that on,
but
coming up on another podcast.
The basket has helped a lot. I used to do it in my other house a ton, like, because you go up and down all the time, and so it's like I'd be bringing stuff from downstairs upstairs all the time. Like, it just is mundane. And that is obviously a big help. Like, throw everything in there, take it up, whatever's in there that's yours, you need to put it away. And then my kids do like a quick clean. Like, our upstairs for the most part is pretty clean, because like they'll come home from school and I'm like, 10 minutes, everybody go clean your rooms, 10 minutes really quick, just clean it up real fast, put the laundry in the laundry room so that I can just put loads in later that night. So like a quick clean, like that's like how I somewhat keep on top of my house. My house isn't perfect clean all the time, but just like little 10-minute jobs like that throughout the day. Like, okay, upstairs, I'm just gonna clean the bathroom while I'm here. Like, I'm in here anyways, let's wipe things down real fast. Because I feel like that's another thing moms struggle with. They're like, how do you keep up with your house? How do you keep it organized? How do you when you're in the car all the time? For me, it's like finding those small little pockets of window. Like, if I'm upstairs, do like 10 minutes of spot cleaning real quick. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be wiping baseboards every day. Like, just, quick clean. But yeah, the laundry basket hack is like a huge one. I actually learned it from another mom of 5 kids. She had triplets in there, and she showed that hack, and I was like, that is like the best genius idea I've ever seen. Like,
that's awesome.
But
Oh yeah, I spend so much time putting things away.
Yeah, like nonstop.
I need to do that. Olivia, do you have any more?
I'm trying to think.
I'll share one more. That's
okay, go
quick
for
and
it.
dirty. It's not quick and dirty at all, actually. That's the second time I've said that today. I don't know why. I'm like, let's just do this
quick and dirty. Let's.
I leave my foam roller out by the bathroom where Cal takes his bath at night as like a mental reminder that I need to do this to recover, and then coupling it with the bath time, it makes it efficient, because I know he's in there, so I get a couple of minutes to roll out while he's in there, and it's just a mental reminder of, okay, if he's doing that, then this is your time to do a little bit of recovery. For me, that's important at my age.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, it's not anything groundbreaking, but it makes it habitual, because it's like, okay, well, every night we are doing this, so might as well do this too, you know? Again, nothing groundbreaking, but just a little, I don't know, little hack, recovery hack.
I think
that's
great.
great.
Did you think of one?
Like, I really think that's all it is like finding, like, we all have this limited time, like, through our day. So it's like, how can we maximize the most of that time, right? Like, I know there's times where like my kids are at sports, like they're at karate practice, whatever, and I'm sitting in my car with my 3 little kids and they're playing out at the park. I'm like, clean my car out real quick. Like, let's get all this garbage out here, all the snacks that they just ate. Let's clean it out so it's clean for the next day. Like you're sitting there anyways. Like, I don't know. I think there's just so many ways to maximize the little time that we do have. That I think this is helpful. I hope it's helpful for anyone that's listening.
I
to
hope
it.
so. Is there anything like in your life that you struggle with that you're like, oh, I wish there was a hack for this. Somebody help me. Why? For me, it's I really struggle with meal planning.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just so hard for me.
Yeah, meal planning is tough.
It is, yeah.
Shanna's like, I could use a private driver to drive my kids
That'd
around.
be nice.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just want somebody to clean my house twice a month. Like, that would be so life-saving. Like, twice a month, I just leave and I come back and my house smells good.
Yeah, that's what I need too.
I'll get there eventually.
You should ask, do you have one of those robotic vacuums? Mine broke. I need a new one.
That thing is awesome. I have one.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it like doesn't pick up like a lot of stuff, but it picks up a good amount.
Enough to make a difference. Yeah.
That definitely, I need to recharge. Like mine sometimes just doesn't end up on the port. And so it's like dead for a while and then I just forget about it. And I'm like, wait, why is it so messy in here?
Right.
That's a good idea. I need to put that back on the charger and get it going again.
Olivia, do you have any to add?
If your kids are grumpy, either put them in outside or in the shower. That's what I do. That's like my number one thing. I'm like, even like, okay, so this is crazy, but it's windy here. I know that's a shocker, but every day I call my husband.
Windy where Olivia is.
Always windy. It's always windy. And I'll always talk about it because it's always surprising to me. But yeah, I'll make my kids go run laps around our yard even against the wind because it burns off all their energy.
Know that is it Bob Seger song?
Oh.
Now I'm definitely against the wind. Yes.
I love that you like that's like the perfect time to mention that song.
Please do a reel of your kids running against the wind.
Yeah,
You're trying to tire them out with that song playing.
I will. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So that's your hack is you just go outside and run against
go
the
outside.
wind.
Go run against the wind. Figure it out. I'm just kidding. But I do actually have them do I will make them go out. If like when you've been inside for too long and you get very cooped up, that is actually my role is either put them in water so they can have a bath and like whatever LOL dolls they want to bring in there. Yeah, exactly. When I had a hot tub, that's why my kids bathe like 18,000 times a day. I swear. Like they're like, wow, this person moved into this house and their water usage is just so high. That's me just bathing my kids nonstop. Or go outside.
I saw an Instagram reel that said that taking your kids outside is the same thing as unplugging an electronic and hoping it works. Like, just a reset. Yeah. It's like they're crying. Just anytime our babies were crying, we would just go outside and change the scenery, It
is, yeah. I think it still works so much, because that's the one thing that we used to be outside all the time. And then, I was like, why am I so frustrated all the time too? Mm-hmm. And it's literally because, and kids don't care about things as much as you think that they do. I literally will give them a Ziploc and I'm like, find the coolest rock that you can. And it's like a whole thing. It takes up all this time. And I'm like, this is why are we overcomplicating everything?
That's such a good point.
Yeah. And that's always what it comes down to for me is like, go back to base. Even like with this whole like treadmill running thing, I'm like, what can I do to entertain them? Nothing. Get nothing. They'll figure it out. Yeah. They are okay. Put them next to you and let them even yell at you.
Yeah.
Mom, faster. And I'm like, I can't go faster. And then explaining things to them, talking to them too much. They'll leave. Just kidding. But yeah, like I really feel like overcomplicating is like a big part of what we do because I think we always think we need to be doing better, doing more. Like, So simplifying is just,
And you feel confidence in them because they become independent. Like, no, for real. Like, I really do feel like we make our kids so dependent on us that it's like, it's not good. It's not good for them. Like, they need. Okay, when my husband went back to work and my vehicle broke down at the grocery store, and I was supposed to go get my older kids from school, and I was like, I literally was texting him. I was like, what do I do? The car's not starting. I was like, I am a 32-year-old woman, and I'm asking my husband what to do, and he's just like, can you figure it out? And I was like, I literally was on emotional breakdown. I was like, can I figure it out? No, I can't figure it out. My vehicle's broken. I had 3 little kids in the car. You're at work. You can't leave because he's in the middle of showings. Like, and I'm just like, what do I do? And I was like, I was frustrated for a second. And then I was like, figure it out. And I was like, wow, I learned how to jumpstart my car, even though it didn't work. Wow, I reached out to a stranger and I asked them to help jumpstart my car, and it didn't work, but it's okay. And I called AAA, and AAA came. And anyways, it's funny. It was like, as an adult, like, it was such a learning process for me in that moment that, like, when we give our kids opportunities to figure it out, they will. Like, they really will. And it gives them confidence. Like, okay, next time this ever happens to me again, I will know what to do. Like, I will know where to find my AAA card to call this stupid guy to come throw my car away. And I won't have to call my husband and be like, can you please come get me?
It's funny. I feel like there is a regression in independence when you become married. Because when I think that, like, I was way more independent before I was married. You know, traveled to other countries by myself. We didn't have cell phones, you know, didn't speak a lick of the language. It was fine. And now it's like anything that goes wrong, you have to call, what do I do? Help me. Can you come? Or I don't know if it's when you get married or when you have kids or
no, that's very true. I was thinking about the other day too. I was like, I can't literally, this is every single Thursday. That's our trash day. And I'm like, I bring out the trash and I'm like, oh, and I always say, I'm the backbone of this household. I say out loud, I march that thing to the curb. And I'm like, why do I think that this is me being the backbone? Because, you know, I talked in our hot tub episode where I did go back to work for a little bit. And, I brought the kids and everything, but like just the like filling out a W-2 form and all this stuff. I was like, wow, look at me go, you know? And I'm like, this is so crazy because I moved to freaking Vegas by myself, not knowing a single person. And now I'm like, I'm 40 minutes from all my friends and I'm like, I miss them so much. I just need a village.
It totally changed it. Yeah, it's funny. It's so funny. I moved
on here. Trisha would be like, guys, I carried my Christmas tree into my own house. Right. Okay.
She's like, Olivia, the trash can is nothing.
It's got wheels.
Totally. She would have a very different spin on this, I think.
Oh, man.
I do have to be more independent, I think, than I'd like a lot of times, because everything happens when my husband's at work. Everything. Like, we'll have 2 very normal days or 4 very normal days. Nothing happens. And then the second that he leaves, like, water heater will break. The water softener is exploding. You know, doors are falling off. Like, someone's head went through a wall. Fine. And I'm like, you know, it's crazy. All these things happen. And I'm like, I have to deal with, like, you know, I love when like a flooring guy comes over and they're like, do you want it like this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Sure.
What do people normally do? Like, what would I do? I'm like, what's the normal answer? But then I also always tell myself, honestly, no, this is so, my husband hates when I say this, but I always go, if a man can do it, so can I, you know? And he's always like, that's your feminist bullshit. But I do say that to him sometimes when he's, So anyway.
Is that what you say to yourself when you're pulling the trash out too?
Every week I'll be like, and I brought the trash out because I am the backbone of this household. Like it's just, I'm always like, why does he always work on these days? You know, I'd love to just not be responsible for this one time, but when you are the backbone,
you bear the brunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
All on your shoulders.
Yep. Meanwhile, I'm always looking up, like, can I just text this number instead of calling it?
Stop.
That's Yeah, if I have to make an appointment, I'll try texting the number first.
No.
Oh my
Always.
gosh, I do the same too. What is that?
That makes me feel better that you do that too.
Yeah, that I've never thought about that in depth, how much it's changed. Like it's I need more confidence. I need to tell Jake to stop helping me with things. When there's something going wrong and I call him, I need him to say, "Can you figure it out?"
Yeah.
I can't. But he'll never say that because he wouldn't trust me to figure it out the way that he would want me to figure it out.
Oh my gosh. I have had to do that. Like, I had to light the pilot light on our water heater.
Ooh, that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but I was like, I can still do things. Like, this is crazy. Why did I never learn how to do this? Like, he walked me through it, and then we tried like 5 times via FaceTime and it didn't work. And then I was like, why did he know how to do this and I didn't? Because we're both the parents, like we both own this house. But car problems is such a great example. Like, our tire was a little flat the other day, and I was like,
a flat tire or anything like that.
Flat tire.
I'd be screwed. I'd be like AAA in my flat tire. There. Yes, but I don't know how to change it. Come do it for me.
There's no way. There's no way I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
Listen, I know my strengths and my weaknesses.
Yeah, right.
That would not be something I could figure out.
I have oh my gosh, I have a chargeable car, and sometimes I have to stop at a charging station, and it's like I won't say what my husband told me to say. Told me the other day, but I can never there's always there's always a problem when I'm charged. Like, I can never get it in all the way, and I can never get it out all the way. And I always am like, I must look so ridiculous, like, and I always want to let people know, like, I'm a mom, like, I can do hard things, but there I am, and I'm like, fucking button won't work, and this won't plug in, and it's just like always something, and it's always like a dude that pulls up next to me, and I'm just like, I must look so weak. Like, I don't want to come off as this, but I also, like, I kind of need to ask him for help. I can't get this thing unplugged. And yeah, it's so funny. Like, I don't know if it's like marriage or maybe just companionship, honestly.
I think so.
Yeah.
You just learn to trust somebody with some of the things that you normally have to do, and so when they take it over, you like forget that you know how to do it. It's like not riding a bike for like 20 years, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, do I still know how to ride this thing? It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
Or rollerblading. I guess that's like a better example. Like rollerblading. I don't know if you guys have ever put rollerblades back on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a better example. Maybe you guys are like, what? But I asked my husband for rollerblades like our first year of marriage. I don't know why. I was just like a kid at heart, I guess. But he bought me rollerblades, and I put them on, and I literally was like, I don't know how I used to ride these things downhill. I can't even walk in them. Like, I can't even balance. And it's so crazy. It's like you don't do something for a while, and it's like you lose your confidence in doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like but we're capable, and so are our kids.
Our kids are capable. Yes, that was the point.
That was the point. And then we went.
Yeah.
And like, if you want motivation and inspiration, just see Olivia on a Thursday morning. Out that trash. She can do hard things.
Oh my gosh. I wonder sometimes if I come across as just like, has she ever done anything?
I mean, you were a paramedic in Las Vegas. Let's make that clear. Yes.
And the professional ballerina who grew up, she was on her own by the age of 14 and lived in Germany.
If you saw me not just telling blips of stories, you would know that I'm a very capable human. I just only tell the funniest parts of a story, and usually not where I'm like, jump starting a car or something like that. Just
many layers to you.
There are many layers. I just always like to share only the most shallow ones. I'm just kidding. I was thinking about it though, because if I ever just heard this, I'd be, and I'm I was like, would Charlotte be proud? You know, because like I don't want her to end up this sounds really bad. I'm very proud of my life, but I also want her to be like to experience what I have experienced, which is like living on your own and, you know, doing all these things that like where you're not, when you're in your early 20s, you're not afraid to go and move across the country and stuff. Like I want her to be like that, where now I'm like, I move 40 minutes away and I literally have a crisis every single day about it, you know? And I'm like, oh, I just love my comfort zone, you know? I have to think about that quite often. I'm like, I want to make sure that she is like ready to experience the world. And because we are shaping them, you know, I don't want her to know that, yeah, that it's like, I don't know where to find our electric bill. I don't know.
And so look, this is a great opportunity, moms, when you're on that treadmill running for however long you are, like, let your kids figure things out too. Like, they're going to be okay. They really will. They will be okay for 30 minutes. Like, I promise you, to the lady that left that comment on your thing, bless her heart, because truly, I feel like she was not taught that it's okay to carve time out for yourself. Like, I truly do feel like that is a very real mom guilt. And I mean, I figured out my 9 or 8-year-old knows how to make peanut butter, honey, banana toast sandwiches or whatever he made. He made me one, and I was like, I've been making this for you like 3 times a week, bro. Like, why am I now discovering you know how to do this? And why am I just now giving you the opportunity to do that? So it's like, we need to stop catering to like, and I'm not talking about a 1-year-old K Karens that are going to come on here. I'm not talking about like leaving a 1-year-old by themselves, like unsupervised. I'm talking about these kids that are totally capable to do things at their age. And we need to give them the opportunity to do that. And like sometimes us having goals and like needing that time to focus on us as well gives them that opportunity, because you don't have time to do everything. You don't have time to do all the laundry. You don't have time to clean all the rooms in your freaking house. Like, so they need to get in, like they need to be part of the team. And it's good. It's good for you to have personal goals. It's good for you to rely on your family to help step up. And help you to carve time out for yourself by them stepping up and picking up their slack too.
Yes, you know? I love that.
Yeah. I do think that like with mom hacks, it's so, you know, sometimes I think about how often like we share mom hacks or the ways that we do things, and we don't include that we have spouses in the conversation or things like that, right? Like, because I think that's a part of the conversation of like, well, where's your husband, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, oftentimes we have to figure things out for ourselves. And so, because I think there's a situation where like, even if somebody has talked it over with their husband, the husband might not understand the gravity of these goals. Like you can say like, I really want to run a marathon, but like it may not have been shared. Like, I really want to run a sub 4 marathon or a sub 4:30. And to them, it's like, that might not mean anything, or vice versa. Right. Like, so there's a side of like where, you know, your partner might not even fully be like grasping what you're wanting to do, or there's people that don't have spouses, and you've got to figure this out. And like carving out time for yourself it should be a non-negotiable, whether you have a partner or not. And so these are mom hacks as far as like when you're figuring it out throughout your day, like, and that you're taking everything one day at a time, like how can I be the most flexible and make this the easiest on my family, right? You know, and that it should always be a non-negotiable, but like that it's okay to take time for yourself, but how can I make it easier? You know, how can I help people do, like, how can my family adjust to this? Right. And I wish that Trisha was here, because I bet she has to work out with her kids around all the time. So, you know, her hack is probably that she wakes up so early, but like, I'm sure that there are some sweet little tips and tricks that she's got, because there's, you know, they're waking up too.
Yep.
So, and that's a non-negotiable for her to get it in.
Yeah. Really early. Yep.
Yeah. I wish she could have been here for it, but maybe we'll do it do this another time, because we'll just be evolving and learning new things and, you know, new hacks.
Exactly.
All right. Are we ready for a shout out? Okay. This one comes from Julia. I love how relatable these ladies are. They have me laughing out loud when I'm out running by myself, listening to them. I'm looking like a crazy person to all the passerbys. So
Love
yay. Glad we made you laugh, Julia. Thank you for writing that. We would love your reviews. So please go on Apple. I don't know if you can leave reviews on the other ones, but Apple is where we pull them. So if you listen on Apple, we really, really would love a review. And don't forget about our secret podcast, What We Really Think, on Patreon, patreon.com/mileswithmoms podcast. I'm proud of us. We've had a cadence of a new podcast, secret podcast, every week. They run on Sundays. And we posted in there how you just grab a link and put it in Apple or wherever you listen, and then it can populate in there. So it's actually really easy to pull it and listen to too. You don't have to have the Patreon app. So head on over there and check it out. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No.
I feel like there's a lot that we could add, but until next time.
We are a chatty bunch. We are.
We are. We could do a marathon if we didn't have families around. We could do a marathon podcast episode. Meaning, like, we're not talking about the marathon because we've already done that, but that we could talk for hours and hours and hours. Because there were many tangents that I wanted to go on, but I was like, Whitney, we got to stay focused.
I know.
Yeah.
Next time.
Until next time. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you all for listening.
Thank
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.